You left that relationship that caused you so much harm. You walked away from the pain, the lies, and the manipulation. But let me ask you something important. Have you really recovered? Sometimes, we believe that simply leaving a toxic relationship is enough to heal. However, the scars it leaves behind aren't always visible, and what you can't see might still be affecting your life in ways you can't even imagine. In this video, we're going to dive deep into how the emotional aftermath of a destructive relationship might still be shaping your present, and most importantly, what you can do to free yourself from it once and for all. Are you ready to uncover the truth about your recovery? Then join me on this journey of self-discovery and healing. The impact of a toxic relationship. Relationships with narcissistic or manipulative people leave deep scars on our minds, scars we often don't recognize until it's too late. When you enter a relationship with someone who emotionally manipulates you, your perception of reality starts to distort. Initially, you might try to justify their behavior, believing that things will get better over time, or that you are somehow responsible for their reactions. However, over time, the constant manipulation, lies, and power plays begin to take a toll on your mental well-being. You find yourself in a downward spiral where confusion and self-justification become your new normal. This constant mental tension is like being in an emotional minefield. You never know when the next explosion will hit, so you become hypervigilant, trying to anticipate every move to avoid pain. This state of constant alertness is exhausting and ends up consuming much of your emotional and mental energy. Over time, this psychological strain can lead you to develop defense mechanisms to protect yourself from the ongoing threat you perceive in the relationship. But these mechanisms, though initially useful for survival, can become toxic if not resolved properly. As the relationship progresses, you begin to adapt to this toxic environment, normalizing the abusive behavior as part of the relationship dynamic. You tell yourself you can handle it, that you're strong, and that things will get better. However, these justifications are merely excuses to keep yourself in a comfort zone, even if that zone is filled with pain. The fear of change, the unknown, or even being alone keeps you in a situation that is clearly harmful to you. Instead of taking steps to leave the relationship, you dive deeper, believing the situation is temporary and that the sacrifice is worth it. The true impact of these relationships isn't felt until long after they've ended. When you finally manage to leave, you believe the worst is over, but the emotional and mental aftereffects remain. The mind, having been in a constant state of alert and defense, doesn't know how to relax or trust again. Every interaction in a new relationship can feel like a similar minefield, where even the smallest sign can trigger painful memories from the past. These mental scars don't heal automatically over time. They require deep introspection and work to truly heal. Defense and attack patterns. When you're in a toxic relationship, your mind begins to develop defense and attack patterns to protect you from the constant emotional assault. These patterns are natural responses to stress and trauma, designed to help you survive in a hostile environment. Initially, these defenses might seem helpful as they allow you to cope with the constant manipulation and abuse. However, over time, these patterns become internalized and turn into a permanent part of your behavior, affecting how you relate to others even after the relationship has ended. The most common defense pattern is hypervigilance, where you become extremely aware of every detail and nuance in your partner's behavior. This hypervigilance keeps you in a constant state of alertness, always expecting the next attack or manipulation. While it initially helps protect you, over time, this constant state of alertness becomes counterproductive, trapping you in a cycle of stress and anxiety. This anxiety manifests not only in your current relationship, but also carries over into future relationships, where any small trigger can cause you to overreact. The attack pattern, on the other hand, emerges when you realize you can no longer silently endure the abuse. You start defending yourself, returning every emotional blow with one of your own, believing this is the only way to protect yourself. However, this attack pattern also becomes problematic, as you become reactive and aggressive in situations that don't warrant it. Instead of communicating openly and honestly, You respond with defensiveness and aggression, perpetuating a cycle of conflict and mistrust. Once the relationship ends, these defense and attack patterns don't automatically disappear. They remain a part of you, shaping how you interact with the world and the people around you. You might find yourself overreacting to minor situations or struggling to trust others, even when there's no obvious reason to be suspicious. These patterns, although developed as survival mechanisms, need to be dismantled and reprogrammed so you can live healthily and build more balanced relationships in the future. Avoidant attachment and other defenses. Avoidant attachment is one of the most common defense mechanisms developed by people who have been in toxic relationships. After being deeply hurt, the mind programs itself to avoid any situation that might cause similar pain. Avoidant attachment is characterized by a tendency to keep others at a distance, to avoid emotional intimacy, and to distrust people's intentions. While this behavior might seem like a form of self-protection, it actually isolates you emotionally and prevents you from forming genuine and meaningful connections with others. This type of attachment not only affects your romantic relationships, but can also influence your friendships and family relationships. You become reluctant to show vulnerability, fearing that any sign of weakness might be used against you. This constant state of mistrust creates a barrier between you and others, making you feel alone even when surrounded by people. Avoidant attachment, while initially appearing to be a safe solution, actually deprives you of the opportunity to experience love and connection in its purest form. In addition to avoidant attachment, other defense mechanisms can emerge in response to past relationships. Some may develop an attitude of indifference or emotional detachment, believing that by not getting deeply involved, they will avoid pain. Others may become controlling, feeling that if they can control the situation, they will avoid being hurt again. These behaviors, while understandable given the history of trauma, are not sustainable in the long run and only serve to perpetuate the cycle of isolation and mistrust. It is crucial to recognize these defense mechanisms and understand that while they were useful at one time, they no longer serve you in the same way. The healing process involves confronting these patterns, understanding where they come from, and actively working to dismantle them. This may require time, effort, and in many cases, professional help. However, it is a necessary step to open yourself up to new experiences, form healthy relationships, and live a more balanced and fulfilling life. Healing and reprogramming your mind. Healing after a toxic relationship is not a simple or quick process, but it is essential to live a fulfilling life and build healthy relationships in the future. The key to healing lies in reprogramming your mind, in dismantling the defense and attack patterns you've developed, and in learning to trust again. This process of reprogramming requires a conscious and constant effort, where you allow yourself to feel and process the emotions you've been repressing. The first step in reprogramming your mind is introspection. You need to take the time to examine your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, and ask yourself why you react in certain ways. This self-awareness is essential to identify the patterns that are harming you and to begin dismantling them. You may discover that many of your current reactions have nothing to do with the present situation but are conditioned responses to past trauma. Recognizing this is a crucial step toward healing. The next step is acceptance. Accept that you've been hurt, that you've developed defense mechanisms that no longer serve you, and that you need to change. This acceptance is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. It is the acknowledgement that you deserve better and that you are willing to do the necessary work to achieve it. Acceptance is the bridge between recognizing the problem and taking action to resolve it. Finally, action. Reprogramming your mind requires daily practice and a commitment to change. This can include techniques such as meditation, cognitive behavioral therapy, therapeutic writing, or simply surrounding yourself with people who support you and help you grow. Each small victory in this process is another step toward freeing yourself from destructive patterns and toward building a healthier and more balanced life. In the end, the goal is to regain control of your emotional life, learn to trust again, and be prepared to receive and offer genuine and healthy love. A call for change. Recognizing and confronting the aftermath of a toxic relationship is only the beginning. The real work begins when you decide it's time to change, to leave behind the pain, and to build a better life for yourself. This call for change is not easy, but it is necessary to break the cycle of destructive relationships and to allow yourself to experience love and happiness in a healthy way. Change requires courage. Courage to look at yourself honestly, to face the parts of you that you'd rather ignore, and to take steps toward healing. It's easy to get stuck in the role of the victim, but true power comes when you decide that you will no longer let the past define your future. This is a process that not only involves healing the wounds of the past, but also learning new ways to relate to others and to yourself. Besides courage, change requires commitment. Commitment to your well-being, to your personal growth, and to building healthy relationships. This means being willing to do the necessary work, to seek help when you need it, and not to give up when things get tough. Commitment to change is what will allow you not only to overcome the aftermath of past relationships, but also to avoid falling into destructive patterns in the future. Finally, change brings with it a profound transformation. As you free yourself from the chains of the past, you discover a new version of yourself, one that is stronger, more aware, and more capable of loving and being loved. This process of transformation not only benefits you, but also the people around you. By healing your own wounds, you become a source of light and support for others, and you contribute to creating a world where healthy and balanced relationships are the norm, not the exception. I would love to hear your thoughts and experiences in the comments, and if you like the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel.